Now, Julie Royce asks Jeanette Hawkins, what did that feel like when she finds out that in putting a lawsuit forward, asking for compensation for the lies and what had happened to their lives, 3 women, to suddenly find out that Marcus and Joni had gone on air and they had framed it as blackmail. They had framed it as extortion. Take a look.
You made this threat, you and the other 2, your coworkers, that you're going to take their story to the media if they don't pay $7.5 million. What did that feel like to hear this? I mean, completely unsuspecting, I'm guessing at the time.
Yes.
That this is going to happen. Yeah.
It really caught us by surprise. It was devastating, of course, to have something like that said, especially when it was not true. Our attorney was a prestigious attorney with a stellar reputation. Had something like that happen, I'm pretty sure his law license would have been affected. It's a federal offense, and if that were true, I would be in jail behind bars. So I know that now that it was a tactic that they use. Even seeing what Jonathan is going through. And it's not unique to their ministry. I've noticed that other ministries are doing that, but it's a counterattack to get ahead of the story and catch people by surprise. But it is devastating to be on the receiving end of an untruth like that.
Oh yeah, I would guess it just felt like a punch in the gut.
So this is what led Jeanette Hawkins, after this, into a devastating spiral. Nobody would want to hire someone that is a blackmailer or an extortionist. This goes viral. Everyone's talking about this. This is probably a moment that Marcus Lamb, again, would have to bring apology to. And frankly, he's gone now. But you know who really did this little shenanigan as well, and she's still alive? Joni Lamb. Just another unrepentant moment. Something that she did. She presented this as extortion, blackmail. Her husband had an affair. Can I put it in a context that many women might appreciate? Jeanette Hawkins is the reason Marcus' affair stopped. She should be grateful. She should be thankful. I would. Somebody told me, listen, we've got some stuff, we got pictures, this is not good. And someone came forward and made sure that I knew that the sin stopped, that I would stop being deceived. I would be grateful to her. So the real problem, I guess, came in when the money, oh boy, that's a hit. $7.5 million they're asking for compensation, which is a drop in the hat for Daystar. Now, I know that was a lot of years ago, but Daystar, when Jonathan left, sat there with $600 million in the bank. And that's how they can just keep on going. I don't know if they can keep going forever. Costs an awful lot to run that studio, pay those property taxes, fund that big, beautiful life they're living. And Joni's new $1 million pay upgrade. As soon as Marcus died, she's going to make more than everybody. And destroy Daystar. Fantastic. Good work. So here's this lady, Jeanette. They saw that nothing was done, that there was no justice, but their lives were destroyed. 3 women's lives were destroyed, all different reasons. One of the other ladies had the allegations regarding Joni Lamb's dad. He's a sexual predator as well. just doing inappropriate things, hugging and grabbing her. They'd had enough. This was a house of immoral sexual deviance, and it was covered up. And so they went after matters. Now, I will say, in the ultimate end of everything, there were no monies gained by these ladies, but they felt that something wrong had happened and that compensation was indeed fair. And quite frankly, looking at it today, I think they should have got money. I think that her life being destroyed by a Christian organization that operates in debauchery and things that had been wrong should have had compensation to her. Well, Julie Royce now talks about, with Jeanette, regarding how the police examined this claim of extortion, and they cleared her. But then Dr. Phil airs the next day. They're cleared, but Dr. Phil airs the next day. Take a look.
Daystar actually complained to the Bedford Police Department and said, basically brought these allegations to them, saying that that you were extorting them. And the police concluded and they issued a statement that after review of the details provided by Daystar and after consulting with the Tarrant County District Attorney's Office, there does not appear to be any criminal conduct under Texas law. That was issued, as I understand it, on December 8, 2010. The very next day, December 9th, 2010, Dr. Phil, he aired a broadcast, his TV show, with Marcus and Joni Lamb, where they reiterated the allegation. So the Bedford police have just said, no, there's no criminal, there's no basis for this criminal allegation. No, this didn't happen. At least the evidence doesn't support it. I'm going to play what Dr. Phil said on that TV show. But before I do, I'm just wondering, did Dr. Phil, did he reach out to you at this time to get your side of the story?
No, and that was really disappointing, because when I saw Dr. Phil shows in the past, he always had both parties there. So I was a little surprised that he only had one party and only really told one side of the story, but he did not ever reach out to us to hear from us.
And that part really surprises me, that the Dr. Phil team didn't do due diligence, as Julie Royce would do, to get all sides of the story before reporting. Julie Royce is a professional, investigator, and this is generally what we do. I just investigate. I am not a professional necessarily, except that I'm a professional broadcaster by virtue of I've had thousands and thousands of hours of broadcasting and investigating. And I always like to get all the sides of the story, and eventually that does paint the picture of the truth. You need to hear from everybody. And in the investigations that we've been doing, we've done that. We've really tried to make sure we get all sides. And Dr. Phil, in not getting that is pretty shocking. It's surprising. So they get cleared. They're not extorters. And yet, Joni and Marcus had already pre-taped this show, is what I'm thinking. And Marcus is living a good life still. He has repented for the affair. Nonetheless, they're not happy about being sued and being outed, because now their Daystar empire is going to get a little bit tarnished. It was so shiny, it looked so perfect. Marcus, Joni, the three kids, the Daystar, taking the gospel, the prosperity message that has damaged so many, but taking that across the world. And all of a sudden, this was a chink in the armor. So they need to fire back and say that it's extortion. The police clear them. This is not extortion. This is a lawsuit. But the very next day, Dr. Phil airs. 2010. Of course, we did all have cell phones then. So Julie Royce plays what Dr. Phil says, that the names were leaked. Take a look.
Here is what Dr. Phil said.
Now, I understand that at the end of November, You were the target of a demand.
Yes, sir. These three individuals came forth and said, if you don't pay us $7.5 million, then we're going to take our information to the media.
So again, you guys here on national TV, they're talking about, they're not mentioning your name, but I'm guessing everybody in your world knows exactly who they're talking about.
Right. Absolutely. So, everybody at Daystar knew, and I think by then our names had been leaked out.
Devastating, I guess, for everyone. Just a sordid tale and not handled well. Well, in this next clip, I was talking to you about, the Kendalls, Fred and Anna. Fred and Redwig, hopefully totally in love. They've had their tales. Now, Anna Kendall had multiple affairs on Fred, and she openly admits this, and the Lord brought healing, and that's why they became a lifeline to many people. And they have an organization, I believe. They are co-founders of Life Languages Institute, I believe. Life Languages Institute, and they've been married for over 50 years now. And so they've survived all of this, fantastic. But here's the thing. This is the part where Julie Royce is still talking to Jeanette, and she says that Fred Kendall told Marcus that he shouldn't tell anybody about this affair. So that was actually the advice given. That's where they got the idea of the cover-up. Redwig, who sits there on that desk every day, their advice was, don't tell anybody. Cover this up.
Well, Marcus had this affair several years ago, and when Joni confronted him, they reached out to Fred and Anna Kendall.
Now, what I was looking for in Marcus, would he be transparent?
He opened up immediately. He was totally transparent.
Did these guys get real when they came in?
Yes. Well, the first thing I wanted to find out right away was, were they willing to work at it?
So some of the rest of that was that, he goes on to say how repentant Marcus was. And then he basically, this is the narrative that was put forth, is that it was actually Fred Kendall's. It was his suggestion that Marcus shouldn't go forward, shouldn't tell anybody about it, because if he did, then, they wouldn't be able to heal. And that was their excuse for why this was buried for 3 years.
So isn't that interesting? And do you see any of that, on set or being replayed on Dr. Phil? I don't think you do. So behind the scenes, it's a cover-up. That's what really happened. And Jeanette Hawkins can attest to that. So here, Anna and Fred know about the affair, but they are too chicken to deal with it. Here's Julie.
Anna, knowing her history, that she and her husband were the ones you went to first, and you asked them to do something. They said Marcus should step down from Daystar. And then they're too chicken to go and actually confront Marcus with it. I mean, this tells you who these people really are. They're too chicken. Why are they too chicken? Probably because he butters their bread, right? There is a lot of payback that they get from Daystar and from being on Daystar. And then in 2010, so 3 years later, when this finally comes out, this couple that didn't have the guts to do anything at the time and spoke so boldly about he should step down, now they go on the apology tour with Marcus and Joni, and they're on Dr. Phil.
So if we ever wonder why Redwig is sitting at that table with Joni Lamb, it's because the cover-up culture is on all of them. And I bet if there were sleuths that were doing deeper digging into each and every one that stands now with Joni Lamb, it's because there's a mess behind it. How many honorable, righteous women would be sitting at a table with someone that's done what Joni Lamb has done? I know her dear friend has left. Wise. Take a look at how Dr. Phil honors Fred and Anna Kendall.
Well, I want to thank Marcus and Joni Lamb of Daystar Television Network and their marriage advisors, Anna and Fred Kendall. Now, they are actually from the Life Languages Institute, and which is a terrific, terrific organization. I'm going to put a link up on our website so you can find their organization, because they have an awful lot to offer.
Ah, they're so great. So what was this all about? They took this to Dr. Phil. You know, you have to agree to go on Dr. Phil. It's not like, oh, you've got a scandal happening, so you have to go on Dr. Phil and tell the entire world. What was this all really about, Joni? Something to do with you, not Marcus. Take a look.
And Joni did not ask me to do this, but nonetheless, I'm going to. Everybody in the audience is going home with a copy of Joni's book, Surrender All. Now, Robin and I have read this book. I highly, highly recommend this, and it's a wonderful time to be reading this. It is a very uplifting and inspiring book. You did a great job on this, Joni, so thank you for doing that. All of y'all are going to go home with a copy of it. Those of you at home can find it and should, because I highly recommend it.
Ah, so sweet. Dr. Phil. And Joni knew nothing about that. Hey, she didn't look all that surprised. As she just said, thank you. She didn't look all that surprised. And you might have not mentioned that you need to go to Daystar to pick it up in her garage, you know, there from the 100,000 that are books that are there. But it's all about an amazing promo for the books. And I bet she just gave it to him because she'd already paid for the books anyways. And I bet she just gave him those books. Unless, of course, she'd like to clear that up on Ministry Now tomorrow. All right. Now, I kind of like how my brother, Ohio for Freedom, see, when he discovered this, he got it. He said, there's a moment here. This sums it up. Take a look at Ohio for Freedom, bringing to light some of the nuance behind what took place on Dr. Phil's.
The more I watch this, Joni, boy, she knows how to insert herself. But let's just break this down together, folks. Phil is asking, when this happened, did you have to step down? And Marcus is being real from preaching. And then he asks him, is that still the case? And he's no. And of course, he never did step down from preaching. And now what's come out is, but I'm going to have to take a year off of preaching, and then I'll be a year on probation. Listen to this. This is very important. Because of my denomination. Let me say that again. Because of my denomination. Now, the Church of God, Cleveland, Tennessee, is actually a real denomination, an incredible denomination. I don't know everybody in that denomination. Nobody does. But let's consider them a credible and a real denomination. These guys didn't know what had happened. So what I'm pointing out is Kendall, Redwig's husband, that just carefully stated, they need to be in intensive care, and we knew we needed to keep this private as long as we could so that they can heal up. Nobody believes that. That's nobody's standard advice to a morally failed minister. But here's the point that I want to make. They conspired to hide it from the Church of God, Cleveland, Tennessee, the denomination that Marcus Lamb is credentialed with and is a bishop, according to the court records. So think about that. Think about that. These same people that are going out In the year after this affair becomes knowledge within the ranks of Daystar, and are writing best-selling books on the New York Times bestseller and preaching around, what are they doing while they're doing that? They are hiding this adultery. They are hiding all of this from the denomination that Marcus Lamb is credentialed with. Marcus is trying to put all the onus on him. Yeah, I hope you think that I took some time off, and I'm not going to say that I took some time off, but I'm okay if I create the impression and you go with the impression that I took some time off. But now I got to take some time off if I want to stay with the Church of God, Cleveland, Tennessee, and I'll be off for a year. And then for another year, I'll be on probation because that's just the consequences of sin. And here comes
a year from preaching, and then a second year I will be on probation. And that's just part of the consequences of sin.
I'm so transparent.
Because they're just now finding out about it. Because again, Fred and Anna felt like it was important that we have that private time to heal. I think that was really important for us, that we have that time. And so we don't feel that, and he doesn't feel like just because he's the head of a network, that he, should not submit to the denomination that we both grew up.
This is so twisted. Please let me play this again. I want you to hear it now. I want to say this.
Feel that, and he doesn't feel like just because he's the head of a network, that he.
Okay, so she's saying they are just finding out about it. So, yeah, he'll have to take some time off, and then he'll be on probation. But they're just finding out about it because Fred and Anna Kendall said, we'll do everything we can to keep them from finding out about it. So we conspired with Fred and Anna Kendall to keep the denomination from finding out about it. We did that. We needed that time to heal. Oh, yeah, we needed that time to heal. We needed to keep it secret. We conspired together to keep that hidden from the denomination that Marcus is ordained with. But now that it's come out, just because Marcus is the head of this great big highfalutin thing called Daystar, that doesn't mean that he doesn't have to submit, even though for 2.5 years we didn't submit because Fred and Anna Kendall did what we told them to do. We told them to tell us that we don't have to submit. Folks, does that make sense? This is a lot of mental gymnastics, y'all. A lot of
should not submit to the denomination that we both grew up in.
But during that time,
why are you talking about trying to give some kind of kudos to a denomination that you both grew up in when you're just treating them like they're a convenience, Joni? You know that your denomination would have had him step down. You know that. So don't act later like it was anything else but you trying to keep a secret. And if you'd have sold another 1,000 books, it would have only cost you $125,959. Maybe that would have saved it, folks. I'm going to let this play out, and then I think we're going to bring this thing to a wrap here, y'all.
Will be missed.
Thank you.
I can tell you will be missed.
I just got to let this play. I think they did a number
during that time, you will be missed.
Thank you.
I can tell you will be missed.
Okay, so they did a good sales job on Dr. Phil because honestly, Dr. Phil's pretty sharp, but I don't think he quite figured it out. And then I just got to play this. I'll show you that they really did a good job. Watch this. Watch this.
And Joni did not ask me to do this, but nonetheless, I'm going to. Everybody in the audience is going home with a copy of Joni's book, Surrender All. Now,
oh, and you close the program with giving everybody in the studio audience a copy of the book that they bought their way onto the New York Times bestseller with. And they're joining the ranks of Rod Parsley. If Rod Parsley had been on that program, he probably would have done the same thing. Folks, I hope that this made some sense to you.
Thank you. Everett Gagnon, Ohio for Freedom. Check him out. He and my brother, Pastor Ray. You don't want to miss their analysis of the ongoing story, The Edge of Night with Daystar.